mic, Linda? Yeah? Yeah, okay. Well, good evening. Most of you know who I am. It's Pastor Wendy Knoll, and we're here with Bless Fest tonight. And it's just a special honor to be able to introduce a gifted singer-songwriter and a dear friend, Michelle Titian. And we're going to open tonight with her documentary. So sit back and enjoy.
My name's Stuart Cameron, and I struggled with alcoholism for many, many years. I thought I was alone and that no one understood me and my afflictions until I found a 12-step program, and that's where I met Michelle Titian. When I was living in homeless shelters, because that's where addiction led me, and I found a 12-step program, Michelle was a heavy influence in helping me understand the disease. Each time that I relapsed, each time that I went out on a binge, Michelle was always there to welcome me back with open arms. Sometimes it's our most negative experiences in life that shape us and mold us into our destiny. That's Canadian singer-songwriter Michelle Titian's story. She has literally pulled herself out of rock bottom and now lives a life dedicated to serving others. This is Drive, a story of music, addiction, and recovery.
In terms of, where she was then and where she is now, in my own opinion, I really didn't know how far down that track she was in terms of addiction.
Every step forward was followed by 2 steps backwards due to, the ill effects of mental health struggles and addiction.
You'd have a meal, a few drinks, and then Michelle would go into the late night.
Michelle was, the life of the party. She was the kind of person that you would call at 2 in the morning when the bars were shutting down if you wanted to keep going.
This idea of asking for help doesn't come easily, right, to people like us.
It's funny because people, if they have a broken arm, what do? They go to a doctor. If they have a broken leg, they go to the doctor.
It ended up coming to the point where you'd try to avoid her often when you'd see her at bars because she'd be fall down drunk.
We're so used to thinking that we can do things on our own that the idea of saying, hey, I actually need some help is the last thing we actually want to do.
The toughest thing is to admit that you need help. That's the toughest thing. If you make that first step and talk to somebody, a friend, an employer, a counselor, a chaplain, a priest, a friend, a spouse, and say, you know what, I think I've got a problem. That's the first step, but somebody can't be helped unless they want to be helped.
I think the journey that she's been through speaks again to her character and to her resilience.
The person suffering from mental illness has family, has friends that need to advocate for that person.
Michelle, and you get to hear her lyrics. You get to kind of hear a little bit about her soul and her life and her struggles too, right? And it's a beautiful thing.
born and raised in Hamilton, Ontario. I grew up in West Hamilton, and my father owned a music store. So I basically have been surrounded by music my entire life. I had a very, very good upbringing.
I keep trying to reach you when I call.
Middle-class family, we pretty much had everything, like no complaints. My brother and I had a really good childhood. That is what basically kind of introduced me to music at such a young age, because I've been surrounded by it since I think I was 5 years old when 4 or 5 when my dad opened up a music store called Reggie's Music in downtown Hamilton. I feel blessed to have had that experience, you know, just to be so connected to music and to witness so much music. Like growing up, my parents both sang and played music. They actually met, my dad, I think in his early 20s, had a band, and they went on tour up to Sault Ste. Marie. And then that's where he met my mom. And then she basically joined the band, and then they went on tour together.
Hey, it's history.
And then from there, my brother was born and I was born. Yeah. So then music was always, it was just always a part of our lifestyle, really. It's like my mom would put tracks on and sing to them, and my dad was actually, I think when I was around 8 or 9, my dad was in a bluegrass band called Niagara Blue. And I remember, you know, like falling asleep to them rehearsing in the other room, and it's just like those memories, like I'll always have those, you know. It's just very deep-rooted in me, you know, music.
Born right into it.
From such a young age, and just so exposed to it, you know. And then I started taking piano lessons at a young age, and I didn't really stick. You know, I was just too interested in doing other things.
So looking back, there's nothing that you can say that was traumatizing in your childhood or upbringing or anything like that. You're saying that you come from a good home.
Definitely at home, yeah, for sure.
What do you mean? What do you mean at home?
You know, I believe that everything that I've gone through in my life and everything that has, any traumas that have happened to me, I believe have happened for a reason. And I see that now. When I was 5, I was abused. It was just something that I kind of forgot about until I got into my later teens, and then I remembered, you know, and I think from there, that's when, you know, drugs and alcohol really started to play a role in my life. Just that need to escape, right? My perception has completely changed on what has happened to me in the past, right, through my experiences. My entire life, this incident has had power over me, and I've let it. And for me to overcome this fear, this power that has completely had control over me my entire life, I've had to, you know, accept it. And for me, it's been through forgiveness that I've been able to let it go.
Right.
Through forgiveness and being able to look at what happened from a different perspective and see what happened to that person, you know what I mean? Because I'm pretty sure that something very similar had happened to them when they were a child.
So music, like when that happened to you, obviously you didn't know what you were going through, the anger, the hurt, the pain, and you used music as an outlet.
I definitely think that music has been an outlet for me. I think the way that I kind of look at it now is, you know, when I'm writing a song, it's almost like I just tap into something else. I sometimes I'll write and you know, be on the piano or on the guitar, and the lyrics just come out, and you know, I've completed a song. Going back to when I was 16, early high school, you know, just started experimenting with drugs, alcohol, and kind of went down that road.
Teens are a major problem when it comes to depression and anxiety. In my experience, a lot more kids are now affected by depression and anxiety.
I think I was 17 years old, and I'd moved out on my own, and I was just in a really bad place. I didn't have any security. I was kind of just doing what I wanted. I dropped out of school. I really was suffering with depression.
Mental health can fester itself for a long time, and eventually it'll come out in ways that people really don't want to come out.
But I ended up trying to commit suicide when I was 17. And from there, I went to the hospital and then was constantly seeing psychiatrists, doctors, you know, for like the next 6 months after that. And then from there, I kind of got out of the living situation, my environment where I was living. I got out of that. And I moved in with my dad, and that was really good for me because it was stable, and it was just a really stable support system that I had with my brother and my dad, so that was good. Like I remember on my 30th birthday, we had a big party at this pub, and that's when I started to black out and like hit my head off the bar.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, not good. Definitely not good. And then it progressed from there. In my 20s, I kind of had it under control. I was able to control it. I was able to stop. But I think once kind of like I turned 30, and then from there it was like that off switch. It wasn't there anymore. There was no off switch. So it was like, you know, I drank to the point where I black out or I pass out. Or what's the point of drinking? Still drinking heavily, binge drinking mainly at this point. So not at all able to have one or two drinks in any way whatsoever. Once I start, I cannot stop. And then once I stop, I can't stay stopped.
Sober, or just a few drinks in her, she was fine and so much fun. And a very gentle and kind, fun person, interesting person. And above all else, a talent. And it was sad to see that talent slowly decline because of that behavior.
There would be, you know, I would have lengths of sobriety, whether it be 1 or 2 weeks, because I know that waking up from a debacle and completely blacking out and covered in bruises and not really knowing what had happened the night before, and saying to myself, I will never drink again. And honestly meaning it. Honestly meaning it, saying...
Can you talk about that a little bit more? Because a lot of people who don't understand addiction would say that, oh, these people are just doing it to themselves. They're choosing to do that.
No, it was definitely not a choice. For me at that time, as my drinking started to progress, well, once I started, I did not have the control to be able to stop. I could not control it. It controlled me. I remember getting one of sobriety under my belt and thinking that this time when I go out to drink, it'll be different and I will be able to control it and I will have the power to do so. This time that I went out, I ended up falling back on my head and getting a severe concussion and being brought to the hospital and covered in blood and not knowing whether I was going to have permanent brain damage or not. And then I remember having a CAT scan and just thinking like, what if I have permanent brain damage? The fact that I am here is a complete blessing and a miracle. I see, like, there's so many times where I had gone out and honestly did not know if I was gonna come back, you know? I had to get to a place of complete desperation. By this point, my husband pretty much wanted to get separated. I'm starting to lose things, right? And it's like we don't really wake up to the fact that we have a problem until we start losing things, whether it's your license, you know, your family, your job, your freedom. What is it going to take for you to wake up and admit there's a problem?
The toughest thing is to admit that you need help. That's the toughest thing.
It actually takes a lot of pain that puts us in a situation where that is the last option, whether it's a detox, whether it's treatment, a hospital, or just coming face to face with the family and saying, hey, listen, like, things are out of control.
You know, the gap between getting help and asking for it is quite large.
But that usually is the last resort for us. Usually we try to do everything before that and use the best of our knowledge to fix the things. But the problem is with us, when we try to fix them, ultimately it doesn't work, right? It causes more pain. So usually it's the pain that is the precipitator into everything that is revolved around in recovery when people start to get well.
Like, I finally, for the first time in my life, I have a purpose. And when I know and understand and remind myself on a daily basis what that is my purpose is just to help others. And that is why I'm here.
I think, you know, the music industry is an extremely narrow window for anyone to get through and reach success. The drive and determination to do whatever it takes to make it, you know, to at least make every attempt to make it, was very inspirational to see that. You know, raw talent is everywhere. It's almost like, you know, talent's not really what it takes. You know, there's so many talented people. It's do they have the, you know, the guts, they have the courage, the conviction to day after day, you know, not just one gig, but you know, and you know, is it 2 years or 3 years? It's just that determination, which I saw in her and continue to experience every day.
Pick up the pieces of this mess down on the floor before you left. Trying
what I saw change in her sobriety was an advancement of that music. And she started to exhibit some new talent. There was a lot more power and emotion in her music.
Won't be before too long now. My feet get dirty where I stand.
I started writing music again in sobriety. And I don't know, my music's kind of just being taken to a different level. You know, I started writing on the piano for the first time, and I'm like, how did I even write this? Like, where did this come from? This is so cool.
Right. That's awesome.
And yeah, it's like tapping into that higher power that kind of just drives me, you know? There's so much that has happened, you know, in my sobriety, just with regard to music. I feel completely blessed, you know, that God has given me this gift, and it's like, how can I use this to help others or reach others, you know? So I wrote the song Drive, and as it alludes to my recovery, like I remember writing the song, and like I said, it's like I don't even know where some of these lyrics, it just kind of flew out of
Download.
me, you know, like
Yeah.
it just came quickly, like it just came right out. And we were very fortunate to get funding to shoot a beautiful video.
It's time for you to know. I surrendered, I am ready to let go.
I ran into her at a coffee shop maybe 2 years ago. She told me that she had been sober for about a year and that she was releasing a new album, and that I had to come to her house and listen to it. So I did, and I was so impressed by it, impressed by the advancement of the music. And that's when she asked me to direct her music video, and I was fully on board. So the way the music video kind of developed was, you know, of course, hearing the song and really getting a sense of what the song was about. And it was about her recovery and the demons that she had to battle to get through it. And knowing her personally and knowing that she had a family and a husband, and knowing that that was, in her mind at least, on the brink of disaster, and that she was able to salvage that. And she really learned the value of her family and the value of health and the value of her art and what she had to give to the world. That was very, very emotional, and it resonated with me because you know, I'm not a stranger to, you know, abusing myself too.
I think that the reaction that some people get is pretty heavy, you know? Like people, like I want to talk about all the things that you want to hide. All those things that, you know, we're scared to talk about. Well, I want to talk about that. I want to be open about my experiences and what I've gone through. You know, and what has got me here to this point.
So it made sense, and I was on my way at that point to becoming a father. I was about to have a baby at that time, so it rang true to me, and it was an important thing to do. And the way we developed the concept was we started talking about ideas of some kind of dramatizations and kind of a narrative thread running through it, which is, you know, most of the videos I've done have kind of had a narrative thread. But it just didn't seem to make sense. None of that really made sense for the song, as much as we kind of tried. And coming up with the treatment took a long time because we started and then it wasn't working. So at the end of it, it really became about, in my mind, about Michelle and about the power of the song and of the singer. And I thought that had to be the focus of the music video, a strictly performance-based music video. And that's what we shot. And we shot it in black and white to give it that conflict between the dark and the light and the shadows and the light. It seemed to make a lot of sense with the content of the music. And we did it in a very elegant way.
That the reaction that some people get is pretty heavy, you know?
That song personally was written at a time when we lost a few people, a few of our very close friends, back to back. And when that song came out, we actually had a very close friend of ours who loved that song, who listened to that song in her car repeatedly, and was played at her funeral.
I want to be open about my experiences and what I've gone through and what has got me here to this point.
Michelle's music, it's honest, and it's genuine.
Fear held me back from so many opportunities, you know, but I was too drunk and just too messed up to deal with anything at that point in my life. I was in such a bad place.
When we talked to work together, and I saw that she was sober and had all the successful opportunities ahead of her and no impediments, I was quite happy to move forward and work with her professionally.
I do feel like I'm being guided for sure, you know, and I think that prayer and meditation on a daily basis saves me. It helps me stay grounded, it helps me stay connected, and it helps me remember my purpose, which is I'm here just to help others, to be here, to carry a message of strength and hope to others that are suffering. And it's almost like looking at it like my life is none of my business anymore. Surrendering to God's will, you know?
Yeah, and you talk about helping others, and I was one of those people that
Yes.
you ended up helping, and that's crazy. You helped me feel like I wasn't the only person in this world that went through that kind of stuff, and helped me understand the disease of alcoholism, and you just helped me really understand, and I can't let you know how much that meant to me to help me understand the disease of alcoholism.
Yeah.
So can you talk about why it's so important to do that, to help others? What does that do?
Well, when I'm anxious or angry or full of fear or can't stop thinking about myself because of all these things that just consume my thoughts of self. I'm depressed. Well, what are you thinking about? I can't stop thinking about this, and this in my life, and this isn't going right for me. It's just like, my purpose is just to help others. And that is why I'm here. That is why I'm on this earth. It has nothing to do with me. You know, I believe that God will provide, and He has, like, everything for me, you know?
You know, it's interesting. The experts say 1 in 5 people in this country are affected by mental health. And I respectfully say that that's not the case, because we all have mental health. We're all affected by mental health. And the takeaway from Michelle's story is that everybody that's suffering has a way out. That if you reach for help and realize that you have a problem and take that first step, it's okay to ask for help.
I think that's the only thing as an addict or alcoholic all of us want, is peace of mind, clarity, and contentment. And when that's given, it's addicting, right? I'd rather have that over everything. There's no material thing that I'd rather take than peace and contentment.
And what we try to do is break the stigma of people maybe being afraid of telling somebody about mental health issues.
Mental illness is a pretty broad category. You have people who are perfectly presenting, perfectly normal, and but that's a face, and inside they're destroyed.
I think we all have to realize that we all may have some issues, and I think with Michelle, with her music, that's what she's really trying to do, is get that word out there that it could be a mental health aspect, it could be addiction, could be drinking, could be drugs, could be really any kind of form of depression, but that you've got to get some help, and you have to figure out what's going on with you.
The Drive Foundation was established by Michelle about a year ago. She wanted to create a foundation to help those suffering from mental health and addiction like herself.
When I learned of her desire to help others, I really didn't want to be involved with just generating, whether it's raising money or awareness and pushing it off to another organization that we had no involvement in.
It's nice to deal with a foundation that is grassroots. I know that there are a lot of times where people are leery about giving to a charity because they don't know how much overhead there is in a charity and where the money goes. This is grassroots. This has been established. This is from day one. It's a foundation of myself and a few other people on the board, and the mandate is to help people with mental health and addiction.
Our approach with the Drive Foundation is coming from an entertainment, from music. The nature of music and entertainment is that it's a platform to reach the masses. And so we want to basically use that platform to deliver awareness.
I know that there's so many others out there that are musicians or visual artists that struggle with depression, with addiction, with anxiety. And to be able to give people that have suffered from what I suffered from an opportunity to play a really cool venue or to have your art shown at a beautiful art exhibit like our gallery, would be pretty amazing. Also, I want to be able to offer funding for people that can complete treatment. So whether you want to go back to school and get a career and start giving back to the community, I think would be pretty cool for people that want to change.
So how can people get involved with the Drive Foundation?
We're basically looking for financial support at this point in order to get the programs up and running.
Is there a website that people can check that out?
Yes, so you can go to www.drivefoundation.org.
Perfect. It's amazing to go from where you were to be so focused on helping others. Such a transformation.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how do you make sense, like when you wake up in the morning at a Drive Foundation, family's around, everything's going great?
I think the first thing that comes out of my mouth in the morning is, thank you, God. Gratitude.
I am sober since October 2017, and since then, things have been going amazing. Before then, things were not going so well. 20 years of continuous drinking, full-blown alcoholic.
When I wake up in the morning, I find that even saying aloud 5 things that you're grateful for, it just helps us stay connected to recognizing what we have.
Now, things are a lot different, right? I found art when I got sober. That gift was given to me very shortly after coming to terms with realizing that I have to find a power greater than myself. And since then, that's been the main push and the main drive to everything that I do. I'm an artist now. I am an employee now. The things that I wasn't doing before, paying my bills, showing up on time, are the major things that are happening.
Opposed to focusing on what we don't have. And that's just the negative, right? And it's like, let's focus on what we have, and which is a lot. And our health, our life, the fact that we're breathing, like that's a miracle within itself, literally,
So having someone like Michelle come together who's experienced some of the stuff perhaps that others have gone through, and just being willing to be that person to provide those opportunities to people who may not otherwise get them is a pretty amazing thing.
For me, if it's just helping one person, that's huge, man.
You know, the one thing that stood out to me from her video was that I want to talk about the things that you want to hide. And I can so identify with that statement. You know, it was a little while ago, I just want to share a little bit of kind of an aha moment that God gave me a while ago. You know, because Bless Fest was absolutely 150% divinely inspired. Like, it's absolutely effortless. I don't have to look for artists at all. God just brings them to me. And I said, you know, I was just kind of praying and meditating. I said, God, why? Why Bless Fest? Why artists and musicians and authors? Like, why? And then I was watching this podcast to prepare for another group that we're doing soon, Two-Way Prayer. And Father Bill was talking about the right side of the brain. And it's the right side of the brain that connects us to God, to the soul. And it's the creative side of the brain. And I was just like in awe, and I got full of goosebumps. And I was like, okay, you know, and then he leads me to Michelle. And you see what's going on with the Drive Foundation, and there's so many other things going on behind the scenes you can talk to about later during coffee and snack time. So without further ado, it is a privilege and an honor to introduce to you Michelle Titian.
Okay, thank you guys for showing up and being here and being a part of this beautiful event that is happening. And thank you so much, Wendy, for asking me to be a part of this. I'm super, super grateful to be here, and yeah, it's an honor to be able to play music, right? So I'm gonna, how are we doing for time? I'm gonna probably play about 3 or 4 songs, and talk a little bit about the songwriting too, but I'll start you off with this one song called Holding On.
Down by the river, that's where we'll meet. Sun shining on us, blessed eternity. Lay your head down, rest upon my knee. Forget your worries, just be at peace, and you keep holding on to something that's not there. You've been trying to lose this feeling, this fear. Hold your head high and believe in what's real, what's real. sunrise at dawn, I move slowly out of bed. Another day, I'm at it again. Lay me down before I fall to my knees. I've grown so tired of all this misery, and I keep holding on to something that's not there. I've been trying to lose this feeling, this fear. I'll hold my head high and believe in what's real, what's real. What's real again. Thank you so much.
Okay, so I'm gonna perform the song Drive that I wrote. I think I was 6 months sober when I wrote this song, and the funny thing is I really connected like music and performing with my ego, and I didn't know how to separate it. I didn't know how to do music without thinking it's selfish and being selfish and consumed in self. And I remember talking to a friend of mine and them saying to me, well, did you ever think of how it makes others feel when you perform music, right? Did you ever think about that? And I'm like, no, because I'm too busy thinking about myself. Right? And then from there, I thought, it'd be a really good idea to try and write about my experience in recovery. So I was 6 months sober, and I wrote this song on the guitar, but we recorded it on the piano, as you saw in the music video. And it's funny because I literally, I talked about like tapping into this power. It was just like I felt like God just like took over, and just I wrote all these lyrics, and I had the chord structures, but the lyrics just flew out of me. And I remember going in the kitchen, getting some water, and coming back and sitting down and looking at the lyrics, and I'm like, how did I even just write this? Like, where did this come from? Like, I would never come up with this. And so I'm just super grateful to God that I was able to kind of break through that and be able to perform music and see how it is a gift that God has given me. And I'm able now to share that with others, and it's an honor to be able to do that. So thank you guys so much for listening.
It's time for you to know I have surrendered, I am ready to let go. Been running too long. Desperation brought me to the floor. Drive me away from it all and hurt me beneath the undertow and drive Took me so long to be honest with myself. My delusion, my perception, and my soul came to believe a power greater than all. Addiction does not own me anymore. Drive me away from it all and hurt me beneath the undertow and drive me away from it all. I've been so terrible. You've seen the worst of it all. Love me, forgive me, see through my faults. Show me how to break down these walls and drive me away from it all and hide me beneath the undertow and drive me away from it all so we can be together once more.
Thank you so much. All right. What a beautiful, beautiful space to perform in. I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you again for having me, guys. Wow. I will be back, even if I'm not invited. Wow, it's just so beautiful. I'm like, I was doing the sound check and I was singing. I was just like, oh my goodness, I just want to come play here every day. So, yeah, I don't know if you remember in the documentary, I was, towards the end there was a girl saying that a friend of ours in this 12-step program really loved this song Drive that I recorded, and she used to listen to it continuously after I released it. And, we really, it's like I go into this 12-step program and the first thing I'm told is, you stick around these rooms long enough and you're going to see people die from this disease of addiction, right? And I did, and I have experienced it. I've just celebrated 9 years of sobriety, and it's probably one of the hardest things, Oh my God. Thanks to God. God gets all the glory. Has nothing to do with me. God gets all the glory there. So this girl Jen that I was trying to help, she had 6 months of sobriety, and then she relapsed, and then she just kept relapsing every week. And I remember picking her up and taking her to meetings, and she ended up getting lined up to go to treatment. And I guess she had decided to go out one last time, and then that one last time took her life, right? She had a 5-year-old daughter, and just one of the hardest things that I have to experience in this journey, right? But so I started writing this song called Broken, after she passed away. And it's, I actually first started writing it when my cousin actually died from alcoholism, because it runs in my family. My cousin Lisa passed away. She had stage 4 cirrhosis of the liver, and she died from alcoholism too. So I tried to start writing this song then, and I couldn't finish it. And then after Jen passed away, I said, I have to finish this song. You know, I have to finish this. And I actually just came back from Nashville, and we recorded this. So I'm hoping to release it in the fall. But yeah, this is dedicated to Lisa and Jen.
Your laugh and your smile, beauty running wild like the wind, and your spirit so free. We're always dancing like no one's around. I long to see you by my side, like an angel you will shine. Broken, it's everything inside of me. Come lift me up, mend the pieces of my heart is broken. Won't you mend the pieces of my heart is broken? You walk by my side with a love you can't hide. And this amazing way you would hold me, make me feel so safe. And I long to see you by my side, like an angel you will shine. Broken, it's everything inside of me. Come lift me up, mend the pieces of my heart is broken. Won't you mend the pieces of my heart is broken? Mend the pieces of my heart is broken. We'll meet when he calls for me. We'll meet when he calls for me. We'll meet when he calls for me.
Thank you so much. All right. I have time for one more song, and then I think we have snack time, right? I like snacks.
Yay, are you guys ready for some snacks? Because I am. Oh boy. So I'm gonna play you guys a love song. It's uplifting and funny story. So my aunt, she passed away, I think about 8 years ago, and she was a missionary and she lived in Africa. And I was able to go live with her in Africa. I lived there for 5 months. And she was running an orphanage, and there was 32 children. And it was probably one of the most amazing experiences I've ever had in my life. So I had my guitar with me, and I wrote lots of music while I was there. So this is a song that I wrote when I was actually in Africa, and it's called Stay With Me. Stay with me, no fooling around now, baby. Stay with me, you know you're the one, baby. You walk on by, my heart skips a beat, leading me across the line. Your possession, love, leave on your tongue. It makes the night breathe, leave on the light, so I can see everything, won't you stay with me? No fooling around now, baby. Stay with me. You know you're the one, baby. This time I can't keep on hiding, losing obstacles. I can now make my move. Now make my move. Won't you stay with me? No fooling around now, baby. Stay with Awesome. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you for coming tonight. And please stick around for some snacks and refreshments. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. Oh, there's also USB cards and CDs for sale over at the table, and I think I'll probably leave some at the church for a bit too. So they're $20 each. Yeah, so thank you. Yeah, so basically it's a card, and it has a little USB stick, and on this it has